This track is called Spazzn. I created it with another producer from the Bay Area named Gyrefunk. And I like this track, and I just like the feeling of it, so I wanted to kind of break it down and show you guys how I made it in Ableton. And thank you. Thanks so much. That track is available everywhere. You can get it on Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, everything. So what I'm going to do is this is Ableton Live for anyone who doesn't know. So we made the whole track in Ableton, and the way we started the track, Gyrefunk came to my studio. He picked up an acoustic guitar and just started jamming. So the very beginning of the track, we recorded this acoustic guitar. And so let me show you guys what it sounded like originally when we first recorded it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the effects and everything off of it. This is how it originally sounded. And this is after the effects. So what it did, I first added so this is called the glue compressor right here. And what that does is it compresses the audio signal, for those of you who aren't familiar with compression. And then after that, I added an EQ where I cut some of the low frequencies. I dipped some of the mid frequencies and boosted some of the highs. So basically, what those things did was just gave it a smoother sound. So I don't want to lose people who don't produce.
So
yeah.
I got actually a question for you.
Yeah, please.
As far as the recording, did you record the guitar direct, or did you mic it up?
Yeah, so
it sounds pretty crispy. So
I think what we did was acoustic guitars have something where you can actually plug in a 1/4 inch. How many guys play guitar in here? Okay, so you guys know you can plug in acoustic guitar directly. So what we did was we did that and just recorded the raw signal.
Okay, so you went straight DI. Nice.
Yep.
Okay. It sounds pretty good for DI.
Yeah, it's not bad. And yeah.
What did you use to plug the guitar in?
So we just had a 1/4 inch cable going into a 1/4 inch in my interface, and my interface is Antelope Audio Zen Tour. So that's what we use. So moving along, I'm going to show you guys the drums, which is my specialty. So these drums, I created them from scratch from my kit, Drums That Knock. So this is what they sound like. Okay, so the kick drum, what I did was I put it in Ableton. There's something called a drum rack where you can, so I can put them on here and trigger them. It's not set up right now, but so basically what I did was I used MIDI to trigger the drum sounds. And so this is the kick drum, just a kick pattern, and this kick is from my Drums That Knock kit, so if you're a producer, definitely check it out. This is the snare drum, also from Drums That Knock. And then what I did for this sound is in Ableton, you can make custom racks. So what I did was I recorded myself just clapping. And I recorded like 40 different hits of me clapping. So the reason I recorded so many claps is every one is different. So, because every time you record a sound, no two sounds are alike. So when you combine them, it creates the effect of like a crowd clapping. So let me see if I can play it. Let me set it up. Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear that? Okay. So everyone is different. So what I did was I played them a little off time from one another to kind of give that effect of like a crowd clapping. So like this. So when you hit more than one, it gives it a fuller sound. So this is what it sounds like in the track with the kick and snare. So that's, for those of you who are into sound design, that's a little sound design trick for making your own claps. You just record them and play them at different times. And so after that, I have a rim shot to kind of give it an airy effect. I put a long reverb at the end of the rim shot just to give it a wide sound. So this is what the rim shot sounds like. Okay, so after that, a couple of years ago, I took a trip to Tunisia in northern Africa, and I collected a bunch of like little hand percussion instruments. And I'm not sure the name of this instrument, but it's like a clacker kind of sound. I can't even really remember. So I will play it for you. Okay, so what I did there was I recorded the instrument, and then later on I doubled the time of it. There's a little button here where you can double the time of whatever you put in. So since Ableton warps the audio, you can actually keep the same pitch, but just double the time. So I kept doubling it and doubling it. That's why I keep speeding up. So I'll play it one more time so you guys hear what I'm talking about. So if you notice at the end, the effect I did, I wanted to make you feel like you're rising up when you're listening to it. And that's the bridge into the next section of the track. So what I did to get that effect is there's an effect in Ableton called auto filter. And if you watch it, you'll see it move, which is called automation. So watch what it does, and then I'll explain what it's doing. So to give it that effect of you rising, what I did was I used the auto filter to sweep out the low frequencies, because low frequencies are like ground. High frequencies are like air. So as I took out the low frequencies, you're rising. So that's how I got that effect. And so I'm gonna play it in context with the whole beat so you can get an idea of why I did it. All right, so you rose up, I left you hanging, and then it dropped in. So music to me is about movement. And so what I'm doing is my best tracks, I feel like I want to take you on a journey. So that's why I do little things like that to do that. And that's part of my joy in producing. So then after that, this is the pad that plays through the track.
Just a little bit. Thank you, man.
And with this one, you can see on the bottom here, I also have an auto filter, but in this case, it starts by keeping in the low frequencies and moving into the higher frequencies. So you're starting as a seed and you're growing out of the ground. You're opening up your mind. So that's another example of how I wanted to create movement and create a journey in the sound. Another thing that I did during the breakdown of the track is I added just a trippy effect. How many of you guys actually heard that while the track was playing? Wow, good ears. Because what I did was intentionally keep it low in the background more so you feel it. but for those of you who have heard it, you guys have really good ears. So I'm gonna play it in context. Now can you guys hear it? And so this is like one of my signature sounds. It's a pluck. And I have it in all, if you listen to my tracks, I have it in almost every track on my Apple Music, Spotify, and everything. How many of you guys heard that while it was playing? Okay, cool. Good ears. Okay, and the whole section together. So basically that whole section is the clap drum that I made with just my recorded clap, the Tunisian clacking instrument that I recorded in, the pad, that trippy, plucky sound that was kind of in the background, and that pluck sound. So that I like to keep my tracks real simple because I'm a believer in space. I don't like to add too much because it starts to feel cluttered. And when you're relaxed and you're listening to it, there's no way to hear everything going on. So I like to have everything have its own place and not be too much. So going back to the beginning of the beat, I'm gonna play it from the intro into the beat, and then I'm gonna show you the bass, how I came up with the bass. So the bass, I took a one shot from my Drums That Knock kit. It's called an 808. How many of you guys heard of an 808? Okay, cool. Pretty all of you guys. And I'll play it alone. So this sound in particular, what I did was I added a little bit of attack. So it doesn't hit like a normal 808, boom. It has like a roll in. And the reason I did that was when the kick drum hits, I wanted to give it space so it didn't clash with the kick drum. So after that, I added a white noise sample, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the beat. It has a real crispy sound to it that really adds, in my opinion, like talking about movement, it adds to the flight of the track. So I'm gonna play that alone and then with the beat. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard it when I first played it. So this is white noise. So it's rising. So the intention I have in that section is to make you rise. So with the track, this is how it sounds. For the white noise. That original sound, it was just a steady white noise sample. And how I got that was in Ableton, there's this plugin called the frequency shifter right here. And if you see that red dot, that means that that's automated. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like in Ableton. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on automation so you can see how it's rising. So right now we're in automation mode, and when I click this, you see that line at the top? That red line at the top that goes up, makes a point, and then goes down. Can you guys see that? So that shows the rise of it. So if I play it soloed, you'll hear it rise. So now we're getting into frequency. So what I did was I raised the frequency, and that's what gives you the feeling that you're rising. After that, I added some compression. Then I EQ'd the low end out, did a duck in the high mids, and then I did something called auto pan, which makes it go from ear to ear in the stereo field to make you feel like you're rising and spinning. So now you're not just rising, you're spinning. So that's what I want, the movement I wanted to create with the track. And then on top of that, what I did was I added a compressor. And so every time the kick drum hits, the sound goes down. So the volume ducks down, which creates a space for the kick drum to really come through. Because like I said, I'm a guy that likes my drum sounds to really hit hard. So that's another thing I did. And then, you know, the thing I didn't talk about is that sound is actually side chaining. Not to a kick drum, but it's actually, I have it side chaining with a volume knob. So that's over there on the end, the plugin that says utility. I think the second to last one. No, the last one. Actually, no, it's this one. Okay, it's actually this one. So if you watch this knob and listen, see what it does. So there's a little delay between the video and the sound, but what that's doing is it's making the volume dip up and dip down and go back up. So moving along. All right, so the last part of the track that I feel really makes it good is the singer. So Gyrefunk, the guy who played the guitar, what I have him do sometimes is I just have him just sing and freestyle, just kind of go off the top of his head and just get into it. We don't plan it, but he'll just sing melodies and go for it. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding EQ, saturation, compression, reverb, and a volume automation. So that's why it ducks up and down. Different compression. And so this is what it sounds like all together. That's the vocal take. And so this is what it sounds like in the track, which I feel like it really, and the ducking is happening along with the white noise sample. So this is everything together. So in terms of movement, what I wanted to do was add that vocal along with the white noise to kind of give you the effect that you're rising. So anyone have any questions? Let me know. Okay.
Yeah, I got a quick question. I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So I know that in a lot of DAWs or recording programs, the order of your effects capture your signal flow in that direction. That's the same with Ableton,
exactly.
Right? So you put your effects in a certain order to create a certain type of thing.
Exactly.
And if you move one, it's going to really change what's actually happening, correct?
Exactly. So it's a signal chain. So whatever you add, if you change the order, it will affect the sound differently. Yep.
All right, everybody. Can I get a big round of applause so far for my man DECAP?
Thank you.
Breaking
Thank
it
you so
down.
much.
That was amazing, bro. Really
I appreciate
appreciated
it.
that.